This thing around this whole interview was to have a conversation. We don't want to have those bullet points and everything like that. Having like a Q&A typically. I think it should be just more of a conversation so we can get to know you as a person more than anything, and then how your journey has come to be where you are at this point. I think the first topic we actually wanted to focus on is your schooling, your background. Where exactly does your background come from? Where did it start? Where did you have your schooling? Where did you have your childhood years, basically?
Well, I was born in the 80s, in 1980, in Limpopo.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I'm Bedi.
Yeah.
We speak Bedi at home.
Yeah.
I grew up mostly with my grandmother.
Yeah.
Because my mother had to go to school.
Yes,
She's
yes,
also
yes.
a teacher, so I think that's why it's in my DNA. Both my parents are teachers.
Yeah.
So I grew up there. I went to a rural school.
Yeah.
It's I'm sure you've heard this story before. We walked kilometers to school.
Yeah, wow.
Through the bush, crossing rivers and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was life back then.
Sure.
And then I went to a Model C high school. This
Yeah.
was after 1994. And then obviously I had to choose what I wanted to do after school.
Yeah.
After high school.
I like all of
And
this, yeah.
I remember growing up with a lot of books around me.
Yeah.
My parents were teachers, so there were books, encyclopedias, newspapers, magazines in the house.
Yeah.
And my dad always encouraged us to read. So I remember reading a lot and coming across a career in fashion design.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't do art at school, but I was determined to go do it,
Yes,
to go study
yes.
fashion design. And after matric, that was back in 97, I applied to study fashion design. They took me in, the
Yeah.
initial application. I went to the arts campus in Pretoria.
Sure.
We had to do a manual interview, if I can call it that,
Yes,
to
yes.
create something.
Yes, yes.
So they could see what we could come up with,
Yeah.
our level of creativity. And I remember not making it through. and I broke my heart, but I was so determined that I found out one of the top students at
Yeah.
the university. His name was Victor. I can't remember his surname.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know, because I used to read a lot, that he used to win a lot of fashion design competitions.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that's the perfect person to teach me.
Yeah.
So I registered for human resources for a year.
Sure.
And the days I didn't have lectures, and at night I would go to Victor. Because
Yeah.
he held classes for other people. And I attended classes there. Long story short, the following year I went and applied, and I got in. So I studied
Sure.
fashion design.
So determination is just key.
Determination is key. So as I sit here today, my background is in fashion design.
Yes, yes, yes.
And after that, I found out that you could be a buyer.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to travel the
Yeah.
world because I grew up with my dad traveling. I have vivid memories of us driving him to Nxasana airport.
Oh, yes.
Now
yes,
you
yes.
know how old I
No,
am.
no, no. We're all in Nxasana. We know Nxasana.
Yes,
Yeah.
airport, and we'll drive him there. I can't remember if we were not allowed in or something, but
Yeah.
like we'll stand and watch him through the big glass windows
Yes, yes.
and
yes.
wave goodbye and wait for postcards from all over. He'll be in Germany, in San Francisco, in
Wow.
Netherlands, wherever.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, that's what I want to do when I grow up.
Just to have that traveling and see the world,
Traveling
and
and
visit
see the
other
world.
places. Yeah.
Yes. And when I found out about buying, I was like, perfect, this is the perfect profession for me.
Yes, yes.
So I got into buying. I worked for Edcon, I worked for Woolworths in Cape Town,
Wow.
for Massmart in Durban.
Sure.
And yeah, so I got to travel the world, it was very exciting.
Yeah.
I didn't see as much as I wanted to because obviously when we traveled it was always work.
No, of
it
course.
wasn't glamorous.
Not just like, yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad that I got to do that.
Oh, wow.
So that is my background. And then I had a business,
Yeah.
Came Here Kids, which I did full time for 2 years, but I started it in 2012 when I was still
sure.
employed. I had a shop at some point. I did Came Here Kids. We took part in the Durban Fashion Fair
Yeah.
in 2016 and 17.
Wow. Sure.
I got it listed at the Space in Moller of Africa
Yes.
with Amanda Sherry.
Oh,
She
wow.
saw my range at the fashion show.
Yeah.
And she was like, I've always wanted to try kids wear in the space.
Yes,
I'm interested. So she gave me Pavilion and Mall of Africa.
Wow.
But I only had funds for one store, so I chose Mall of Africa.
Yeah,
because, it's Gauteng.
It's Gauteng, it's vibey.
Yes.
And for those listening, I think everyone knows that Joburg is more vibey than KZN.
Exactly.
And the KZN guys are going to say, no, it's not like that. But
yeah, we can have that argument.
Yeah.
But we know we have pros and cons everywhere.
No, exactly.
So I went with the one in Mall of Africa. We were there for, I think, 6 months.
Yeah.
It was not sustainable financially.
Yeah.
I wish I could do it for longer,
Yes, of course.
Anyway, so I had to take it out, and then that's when I went into education.
Yes.
Because education was always something I wanted to do. And I remember my mom always telling me, you're a teacher at heart.
Yeah.
And I'll be, I was set in my ways. I didn't want to be a teacher because my parents were teachers. I wanted to do something different.
No, exactly.
But it was always at the back of my mind.
No, exactly.
I remember applying to Damelin in every way, filling in the forms and never sending them in because I'll always have an excuse,
Yeah.
And in 2020, I finally decided this is what I'm going to do in my life.
Oh, wow.
And I registered with Studio School of Education.
Yeah.
And I also registered for my honors in
Yeah.
inclusive education.
Sure.
Because I think that's a big thing around the world and in South Africa,
Yeah.
where we have to make education available to all the children.
Yes.
It doesn't matter their background,
No, exactly.
their race, their abilities,
No, exactly.
whether they use wheelchairs, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We need to make education available for everyone. And as we all know, all that Nelson Mandela used to tell us all the time, that education is the key. And if you are educated, you literally open up your world and you can do anything you set your mind to.
Oh,
and I
that's so
think
well
most
said.
people are proof of that.
Yeah.
And I am sitting here today.
Yeah, that's so well said. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's so funny that, I've actually had a lot of conversations with a lot of people and business owners and things like that. Is that, in 2020, yes, we're going through a worldwide epidemic or anything like that. But I think it was for a lot of people that aha moment just hit to say, if I can go through something as extreme as this, then definitely I can follow my dreams.
Exactly.
I can persevere in whatever challenges I have. And that's so inspirational to hear that from you, and especially with your background. You kind of always hear about the stories about someone having to walk kilometers to school, but you don't really understand what that means. It's not like a flat road like in the city or walking around Mall of the South where it's just lights everywhere and paving. It's literally like going through mountains and rocks and rivers.
We had to cross rivers. Every time it rained, you were like, how are we getting to school today, And I remember it was me, my brother, and a whole lot of cousins because we all stayed very close-knit community.
Yeah.
But it's those memories when you look back, you think,
sure,
we come from there and we made it.
And it's so amazing to find out that, the tenacity that you get as a child just to go through those, it might seem small hurdles, sometimes a bit bigger, but that actually guides you in your life to actually find out that how strong am I really? How much do I really want to reach my dreams? And I'm thinking to myself that with all this that's going on with the business and studying and doing the honors, when is the time for leisure? And what do you do during leisure time? Are you able to even go out to a restaurant? I'm sure people see you. They see you as Miss South Africa.
Yeah.
They see you as a beauty pageant finalist. When do you have time for the leisure, and what do you do during your leisure times?
Sure. To be honest with you, I haven't had much time to go out and do the things that I really want to do.
Yeah.
Because I had to focus on the degree.
No, of course.
And I had to put my all in. I wanted to come out as one of the best students,
Yeah.
So what I do to just cool off and find time from studying and time from books, I like running.
Oh, wow.
And I think I started running. I used to run as a teenager.
Yes.
But then life happened. I didn't run. Then I got back into running in 2019.
Yeah.
This was after I had done the business and it didn't work.
Yes.
And I found myself at home, looking after the kids, looking after the house, the family.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not enough. I need more.
Yeah.
So it was also a time where I found out about depression.
Yes.
This is how it feels to be depressed, when you feel like you are literally at the bottom of a pit.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I need to do something to get out of the pit.
No, exactly.
And I started running.
Yeah.
So every time I talk about running, I like, running saved my life.
Yeah, sure.
And a lot of people don't understand, but it did.
Yeah.
It gave me time to think about life.
Sure.
Where I am, where I want to be. I mean, that's also when I decided to get into education.
Yes.
After doing all this running and just having conversations with myself.
Yeah.
And listening to my own voice.
Yeah.
Because a lot of time we hear outside voices.
Yes.
And I discovered in the 4 years that listening to my voice is more powerful.
Yeah.
Holding my hand through, adversity is more powerful.
Sure.
Yes, it's good to have support and family and friends, but I find when I do that with myself, to myself,
Yeah.
it gets me to where I want to be.
No, that's
so
fantastic.
I run to, to take time out to listen to myself, to listen to my voice. And then, of course, we go out with the other Mrs. South Africas.
Yes,
so
yes,
we
yes.
do like, little lunches there and there.
No,
just to give each other support because it's a very challenging journey,
Yeah.
the Mrs. South Africa journey. So we go out just to support each other. I go out with my family. We're planning to go out actually yesterday, but my husband got sick.
Oh, shame.
So every now and then we, try and find time to go out and just spend time with family.
Sure. And that's so brilliant what you just said now, because I think a lot of the people who's going to be listening in are going to be asking themselves, like, to be successful in all these things. And we always get painted a picture that when you're successful, you go through, or to detox, you need to use all kind of medications, some people even alcohol to celebrate and things like that. But for you to say something as humble and as energetic as exercising and running, I think that's what a lot of people are looking for, to realize that you don't have to go outside of yourself.
Yes.
You don't have to get a fancy gym membership if you don't have the funds. I mean, you just go outside, you can take a jog, you have time to think, you have time to meditate, you have time to be with yourself, which is so important.
Yeah, because I'm not a fan of gym. I mean, no offense to people who go to the gym.
No.
Yeah. It's, you pick what you like,
Yes.
what you're more comfortable with.
Yeah.
For me, being able to just wake up, put on my trainers, and go out.
Oh, wow.
I don't have to drive somewhere. I don't
Yeah.
have to think about petrol or parking or the membership. If you're not working, how are you gonna afford your membership?
No, exactly.
So I wasn't working at that time.
Yeah.
And obviously, the money that was available was for the family, and it had to look after everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's perfect to just wake up and put on your trainers, go for a walk, go for a run. And also, I like going to races.
Yes.
And the reason I like that is to meet strangers.
No, of course.
It's very nice to just get there, start running, and then you start talking to someone, and you find out about somebody's life, what they've been through, what they did to get over the obstacles, to achieve their dreams. So it's I like the social part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's excellent. And then your journey with Miss South Africa. To be Mrs. South Africa, where did that all start? Within everything that you were doing, within all the challenges, within all the success?
Yeah.
How did that journey begin?
Okay, so I've always wanted to be a beauty queen.
Yeah.
I remember when I was young, I wanted to do modeling with all my heart. Yeah. But my mom was very strict, so she was like, okay, you can do that one. No, not that one.
Yes,
you can enter there, you can enter. So yeah, I went through that, but it was always something I wanted to do,
Yeah.
And I remember in high school, I was in matric.
Yeah.
They had a Miss Meridian College competition.
Yeah.
And I was like, perfect, I'm going to enter that.
This is for me, yeah.
It's school, mommy can't say no.
Yes.
So I remember I entered the competition with a couple of other girls, and it's nerve-wracking, and you always think someone is taller than you, more beautiful than you, more good-looking than you. So I went through all of that in that competition, and I won.
Wow.
Which was awesome, and I was also a prefect, so it was like a cherry on top. And I remember the newspapers coming to the school to cover the competition and do an interview with me.
Yeah.
I was in the newspaper, it was very exciting.
Oh, wow.
Right? So after matric, I was like, I want to do this more. So I came to Joburg as like the perfect province to do this.
Yes,
right?
of course.
I approached a couple of modeling agencies, But I wanted to be a ramp model at that time.
Yes,
not a
yes, yes.
beauty queen.
Yes, yes.
And because I wanted to be like a Naomi Campbell, a
Oh,
Cindy
yes.
Crawford, you know, Kate Moss.
Yeah.
And I remember them telling me that I'm short, I'm not tall enough.
Sure.
And I was just like, what?
Sure.
I'm like the tallest at my house. What do you mean I'm not tall enough?
Yeah.
And then obviously I met other models. I was like, wow, I need to be that tall.
Yeah.
So that dream took a backseat.
Yes, yes, yes.
And then I continued with my studies and everything.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to do it. So I was like, maybe I should try Miss South Africa.
Yeah.
But you know when you just have doubt about yourself?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people go through that.
Sure.
So I was doubting myself and I never did Miss South Africa.
Yes,
And
yes,
then I
yes.
went over the age, I was like, oh well, it doesn't matter now, I'm too old.
Yeah.
And then I got married and had kids.
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
And then my friends would always tell me, why don't you enter Miss South Africa?
Yeah.
You know, you do so well. They don't care about height and anything there. You can just go and be yourself and do it.
Yeah.
And I think 3 times I filled in the forms for Miss South Africa.
Yeah.
And they will sit on my bedside and collect dust. Right? And then this year, I was like, no, last year I went to Empress Palace.
Yes, yes,
And I
yes.
saw the show live
Yeah.
when Silver High Lai won.
Yes, yes.
Listen, I can still picture this moment, right?
Sure.
Silver's on stage, they call, the contestants come, she says her piece, they ask the questions, and they call her on stage because she won, and they put in the crown on her.
Yes.
The face, her look,
Yeah.
oh, the
Oh,
look
wow.
on her face when they put the crown on, the pride, I remember I was with my husband and I stood there, I was like, this is my time.
Yeah.
And I said to my husband, this is my time, I'm doing this next year.
Yes, yes.
And he looked at me, he's like, wow, that took you long. Right? And after that, I was just so fired up. You know, I wanted to do that for myself.
Yes,
And I
yes.
was like, it's a perfect time. The children are grown up. They can look after themselves.
Yeah.
I'll have time to go do all these projects because I know I'm going to get busy.
Yeah.
But I'll have the time to do it and they will understand because, you know, they're grown up.
Yes.
They also have their lives, which is nice.
Yeah,
because
of course.
They're getting busy with their little lives. And then most of the time I'm home alone after work because that one went to see a friend, that one went to the mall.
Yeah.
So it was the perfect time. And I remember I planned it. I had outfits, makeup done. I went to a studio that took pictures.
Yes.
And I filled in the form this time online.
Yeah.
I attached the pictures and I clicked submit
Yeah.
on the 18th of December.
Oh, wow. That is
And
fantastic.
a long story short, we had auditions in February at Clearwater Mall.
Yeah.
And it was, they said 130 of us
Yeah.
were there for the auditions. It was a public audition. You
Yes,
had to
yes,
walk on
yes.
stage, introduce yourself.
Sure.
and the whole thing. It was, nerve
Yeah.
wracking. And then they gave us the sessions on the same day,
Yeah.
which was very exciting. So yeah, I'm very proud that I showed up for myself,
Yeah.
and now I'm here living my dream.
Sure. And I'm sure your family must be so proud of you.
My family is very proud. I
Oh,
think
wow.
my dad is the proudest.
Yeah.
He was proud that I registered for education.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
he was proud that I did this. He's just like, do you see what happens when you set your mind on
No, exactly.
This is perseverance and determination. I'm the first one at home. There are 5 of us.
Yeah.
And he's like, all your siblings must learn from this.
Yes.
He didn't want us to like sit around or idle around. He made sure that we are busy doing something. If you are not in the library reading, you are doing something physical to keep
Yes,
yourself
yes, yes.
nice and fit. So I grew up with that. I need to be active.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I used to go to the gym when I was a teenager to do aerobics.
Yes,
But I'm
yes,
not a
yes.
fan of gym now. So now I exercise. I
Yeah.
walk, I run. I also do, the in thing now online is wall pilates.
Oh, yes,
So
yes,
nice.
yes. No, of course.
Listen, I found that very interesting because at first I was like, I only need a wall.
Yeah.
Wall pilates. Okay, let's try this. And then when I tried it, I was like, wow, it actually
It
works.
actually works.
You get nicely toned because that's what I want to do.
Yes, of course.
At this stage, I don't want to lose weight or anything
Yeah.
because I want to look normal. I'm a teacher. When the children look at me and see a model or a beauty queen, they must not
Yeah.
see someone who is unhealthily thin.
Yeah.
They must see a normal person, something that they'll be able to achieve should they want to do it.
Yes, and of
So
course.
yeah, just eating good, drinking lots of water
Yeah.
for skin.
For the skin, of course.
Staying out of the sun.
Yeah.
If you go into the sun, please put on sunscreen,
Yes.
which is like what I do when I go out running because it gets very hot.
No, of course.
So I make sure I have sunscreen on. I have lots of liquid. I'm not a fan of alcohol.
Yeah.
I drink every now and then. I have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Not really wine though, but like cocktails. I like
Yes,
cocktails
yes.
more. But I make sure that I keep that to a limit because I know what it does to your body.
No, of course.
So more water,
Yeah.
less alcohol, and lots of exercise.
Sure, that's excellent advice. Wow. And then just lastly, just to finish it up, I just wanted to find out, what does this mean now with your busy schedule and everything like that? Where are you looking for in terms of pushing your business, Cameo Kids, and your clothing line? Where do you see yourself now with the success you've already achieved with it? Where do you see yourself moving or pushing forward in that aspect?
Okay, so I'm very passionate about Cameo Kids.
Yeah.
I put it on shelf, or should I say I shelved it
Yeah.
after 2017 when I
Yeah.
took it out of the space. I kind of took a break from the business.
Yes.
But
yes, yes.
like I keep it active online.
Yeah.
And I'm still very passionate about it. There are so many things I want to achieve with Cameo Kids.
Yeah.
And one of them is to have a factory in South Africa
Yeah.
where I can employ people and we produce all Cameo Kid clothing, whatever else I want to add
Yeah.
locally.
Yeah.
Because that for me is a big thing.
Yeah.
To keep our economy running, to employ our people, to show people that we can achieve these things.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, when I used to travel to China, we'll go to factories
Yeah.
and you just see rows and rows and rows of machines, and
Yeah.
people working. And that's something I wish for my country.
Yes.
That nobody goes hungry because we can start businesses and we can start sustainable businesses
Yeah.
with the support of the government where we employ each other here and make sure no one goes hungry, families are fed, women especially, that
Wow.
women are employed because we are the vulnerable species, you know?
Yes.
We look after the children. So if we can look after our women, we'll be able to look after our children.
Yeah.
Our future will look better. So what I want to do, especially using the Mrs. South Africa platform,
Yeah.
is to bring Cameo Kids back from the shelf.
Yeah.
I wanted, you know, live.
Yes.
I want to work with it. I want to invest in it.
Yeah.
And I want to find partners that I can work with.
No, exactly.
So the biggest thing there is to find space, have a factory, fill it up with machines,
Yeah.
and have women coming in every day to make our brand,
Yeah.
our clothing, our bags, our shoes. I mean, in 2016, when I was doing Cameo Kids full time,
Yeah.
I had a chance of going to China,
Yes.
to Fusion University,
Sure.
to learn how to design shoes.
Yes. Yes.
So, over and above the fashion background that I have, I also have shoe design.
Yes.
And that is something that I would like to introduce as well into Cameo Kids
Yes.
in South Africa,
Wow.
where we can have a factory produce our shoes.
Yes.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, for me, Cameo Kids it's more than a business.
Yeah.
It's the future.
No, exactly.
You know, it's a legacy that I'm going to leave for my family, for my children, but mostly for South Africa.
Yeah.
I want South Africans to be able to say Cameo Kids is our brand.
Yes.
The way people speak about Gucci and
Yeah.
all those famous brands,
Yeah.
we can have that in this country.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And Cameo Kids is such a lovely name. How did you come up with that name? Or what does the name mean? Or how did it come to be?
Okay, so Cameo Kids, when I came up with the name, I was trying to use my children's initials
Yeah.
or a couple of letters from their names.
Yes. Yes.
So my first daughter is Kubo,
Yeah.
and the second one is Muteo.
Okay.
I have two daughters.
Yeah.
And I was trying to marry the two names
Oh,
to
yeah,
come up
sure.
with a brand.
Yeah.
And somehow, as I was working through it, you know, you write like list and list of names.
Yeah, it's
until
true.
you get to the one that sounds better.
It says this
that
is it.
rolls out of your
Yeah.
mouth.
Yeah.
And Cameo Kids with a K for
Yeah.
my daughter just rolled out of my mouth, and I was like, this is perfect. It doesn't have to really show their names,
Yeah.
but I know the background.
You know the background.
And
Yeah.
that makes me happy.
Sure. No, this is fantastic. We thank you so much. We thank you so much for this lovely time to get to learn from you, I'm sure all the viewers that have just been watching this and listening to this are just have so many questions they'd like to ask on a personal level, because everyone has their own kind of struggles, and it's so nice to actually relate or discuss with someone that can relate to your kind of struggles, because I think you've been through everything from struggling to succeeding to having to deal and juggle with everything and still keeping healthy with it. I mean, you speak to a wide audience with what we've just been discussing here, and we thank you so much for your time and everything. We wish you all the best for your graduation next week. We're going to have a follow-up interview after that, and I'm sure we'll have pictures for everyone so they can see what was going on, what the day was like with your family and your other fellow graduates. And everything the best with Mrs. South Africa, and of course with Cameo Kids. I think for everyone, I don't know how many people are going to be waiting to get your contact details after this. So maybe we'll show it in the screen at the end, so people can get in touch with you, and then they can engage with you, and then you can see in terms of partnership, in terms of models, in terms of actually growing the brand. Yeah.
That would be awesome. I would love that kind of support, because I think as a small business owner, that's exactly what we're looking for.
Exactly.
Partnerships, collaborations, it makes it easy.
Yeah. No, Narcissi, thank you so much again. And I think this brings us to the end of our interview.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks again.